Just got back from Pennsylvania's very first March for Life in Harrisburg, right outside the Capitol building. I got to go with my friend Toni McFadden, who's an incredible speaker. She has her story about abortion. You can check it out. It's incredibly powerful.
We are about to go speak for the first annual March for Life here in Harrisburg. So excited!
What stood out the most was generally just how uplifting the morale was there. Everybody marching during that time was just excited. They were happy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Where are you from?
Thank you.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Which you don't see a lot in the news from the pro-choice movement.
And our call to protect. So men and young men in this crowd, your voice matters in this battle too.
A lot of people, when they talk about the pro-choice or pro-life movement, they use the argument of if the fetus is a human being or not. And this is something I took away from Abby Johnson's speech, is when it's convenient, people on the pro-choice movement label the fetus as just tissue. It's just nothing. It's not a human being. It's not a life. It's definitely not a child or a baby. But when somebody actually wants to keep their baby, they willfully express that, you are pregnant with a human being. There's such a double standard there. It's either one or the other. That tissue matter, per se, within the womb doesn't change upon if it's wanted or not by the mother.
But after going in day after day, I realized I can't change Planned Parenthood because Planned Parenthood is abortion. And so on October 6th, in just a few short days, I will celebrate my 13th anniversary of walking away from the abortion industry.
One of the arguments a lot of the times from people kind of in the middle of the line, but more on the pro-choice side of things, the people who say in cases of, in rape or incest, that's a circumstance for aborting a child. The moral argument that the fetus inside the womb is a human being. If that is your argument, if you are stating that at all in your perspective, in your belief, that doesn't change given the circumstance. I believe that it is a human life, so I believe that even in those extreme cases, that doesn't go away. If in cases of rape or incest, how would you feel if you had to carry that child to term? Well, there are people who exist out of those cases. Their lives still matter. And if you believe that it's a human life inside of the womb, that's not an exception, especially for people who are on the pro-life side, but who tend to stray on those issues. You can't have it both ways. It's either a human life or it's not. How we've convinced ourselves as a society that abortion is a right to a woman to live her best life. In order to do that, you can't have a child. It's sad, and people tend to blame the system for it. They blame the foster care system, and they claim how broken it is, and they claim how, this and that, yet they want the government to step in every other circumstance. Let's fix the foster care system. But first of all, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And because the system's broken doesn't mean you get to take a life away from somebody. If you are a pro-lifer and you're having a conversation with somebody who is pro-choice, stop defending your argument right off the bat. Go on the offense a little bit. Make them defend their perspective. Ask them if they believe that the fetus in the womb has any rights at all. Make them defend their point of view before you do yours. We tend to lay out all of our cards on the table first and say, well, what do you mean? This is a human life. Obviously, their perspective is very different than ours. And don't be surprised if they don't agree. Don't be surprised if you have to walk away from the conversation. That happens a lot. I've gotten pretty used to it at this point. I still want to have those conversations with people. I still want to engage in conversation and discussion, even if it means we walk away. But I want people to know where I stand. And I also want to, understand their perspective better and understand how I can form my argument against that, but also make them explain their perspective more. Because their perspective is one that comes from what they call empathy for the mother. Yet we believe that we need to fight for the people who can't fight for themselves at all, the unborn, so make them defend their argument first. Overall, it's a super uncomfortable conversation because we let it get to this point where we as a society think it's so normal to kill your own children. If it's manslaughter, murder outside of the womb, then it's the same as if it's in the womb. Total double standard. But we've as a society gotten to this point, so we need to start unnormalizing it.